Hey everybody, it's a bullet brawl. We're talking fast and we're moving fast. Playing Hikaru's fan. Well, I bet he's a big Magnus Carlsen fan. No, I'm kidding. Huge Hikaru fan here. We love that. Love the attitude. Just love how open he is about who he's rooting for and who he's a fan of. You know, respect. Respect that. I do. Yoda. Alright, well, let's bust this thing open. Open the center. I will do it like this. Although, now that I'm thinking about it, I forgot this is 1-1 and not 1-0, which means I have blundered a pawn with very little compensation. There really is a difference between the moves you would play in 1-0 versus 1 minute. And in this case, I will likely regret my actions. Well, let's see. It's still not clear. Obviously, white has a lot of compensation. The center is open. I have a very active knight. If he takes it, I take with the bishop, and then the light squares are a problem. Now I'm threatening to move this knight with check, which would win the queen on d8. Also, if he moves the queen to the wrong square, there may even be tactics like knight takes e7, opening up the pin on the bishop on b7. So, a little bit of an awkward situation for Hikaru's #1 fan. Gotta be your #1 fan, Hikaru, if he goes out of his way to name his username after you, right? See, now I can take on e7. If he takes with the knight, I win the bishop on b7. If he takes with the queen, I take. But then he can pin my bishop to my queen, so no thank you. No thank you on that one. We'll back up and renew the threat of knight f6 check because the pawn on e7 is now pinned to the queen. He sees it. He is playing pretty well. I have this move knight takes e7 anyway, and if knight takes e7, queen to b3 check, removing the queen with tempo. He moves and then I take on b7. I like it. Seems like the right type of tactic to expose the awkwardness of my opponent's pieces. Even this trade, of course, will favor me as he immediately has to deal with the knight. Interesting. But can I take on e7? Almost. If I take on e7 and he takes with the rook, I have bishop d5, but if I take e7, he can take b3. It's a bit irritating. So we'll just move the bishop off. It actually renews the threat, maybe, of taking on e7. So let's see here. Let's put the rook on the 6th rank. And keep the pressure alive. Indeed. I'll have to protect my threat of knight f3 check. Not a lot of time here for either one of us. So we'll see. But now I can check and trade and go pick up this guy. We're okay with that. We're going to check and then... Actually, we're going to guard the pawn first. No reason to be in a rush right now. Take, shake and bake with the king. Yep, keep moving. Time to advance. Advance the a-pawn. Okay, but now I have check and blocking the rook. This was my idea. Looks like it's over. Red rover. We can run it back against Hikaru's fan, right? After all, we all do remember the fateful night underneath the light of the neon moon last week against my FIDE master opponent, right? Brooks and Dunn. We all remember that. Let's keep the tempo alive here, and what we have here is a Smith-Morrick Gambit. Didn't really play the normal system that I have prepared against this, but worked out nonetheless. Not super worried about it, but should I be? Maybe I should have been. If I put the knight on e5, he can take and take. There's no immediate discovery of the pieces on the c file, so we'll see if we can get away with this. very commonly you're okay with putting the knight in the center and allowing the pawns to be doubled, because you usually get something dynamic in exchange for it. So just a little factoid, little FYI for everybody at home. He wants everything. He wants that pawn. It's okay with me, though, because I'm maintaining my pawn advantage. Most importantly, though, my pieces are becoming active. I would love to just take on c1 and get 2 rooks for the queen. I think that's exactly what I'll do. We'll trade, and he'll probably take on f6 and double the pawns, but with the bishop pair and open files and diagonals galore, we expect to be able to outplay the queen with the pieces. You're always evaluating what the other features are of a position when you're making an exchange for unbalanced material. You're making sure that, for example, in many cases you don't want to go for positions with the queen versus your pieces when either there aren't enough open files for the rooks, or there are a lot of pawn weaknesses. It allows the queen to sort of go back and forth on the board and target things all over, keeping the pieces uncoordinated. Makes it much more difficult. But in the case of having a lot of open files and quick access to key squares, almost always the pieces will be better. So here he has to move the bishop, and I'm going to put the rook on b2, forcing the queen to an awkward square. Right? Awkward. I don't want to go awkward on this. Pitch perfect, but I am going to go awkward. Interesting, but I will play rook to c2 with the threat of rook to c1 and win on time. Well, let's play one more for the best of 5 that is our normal bullet brawl show. I spend most every night beneath the light of a neon moon. Now if you lose your one and only, there's always room here for the lonely. Watch your broken dreams dancing out on the beams of a neon moon. I think of 2 young lovers, one running wild and free. I close my eyes and sometimes see you in the shadows. Bow now. You know that country guitar where Brooks and Dunn just like yanks it? Of the smoke-filled room. Bow, I don't know now. No telling how many tears I've sat here and cried, or how many lies that I've lied, telling my poor heart that you'll come back someday. Oh, but I'll be alright as long as there's light from a neon moon. I did not know that I knew all the words to that song. You know, sometimes you're just like surprise yourself with your ability to remember songs. Am I the only one who does that? I'm probably the only one who sings them. Most people just keep to themselves. You know, noted. All right, noted. Noted how you all feel about me. Keep it to yourself. Although this has just been a smashing. A Smashville go time. Big town. Small town. Uptown. East side, west side. Knight takes f5. Obviously, if he takes, I'm taking on h6, and Brooks and Dunn would be proud. By the way, who is Brooks and who is Dunn? Am I right? Does anybody even know the answer to that question? Of those 2 guys. Bring the rook in. I'm maybe going to double rooks, but most importantly, I'm looking for an opportunity to take on h6 and then bust through Billy Blue. I don't quite have the opportunity to do so yet, so it's slightly irritating, yeah. G5, Queen G4, attacking the knight. Yeah, right. Hold a tick. Takes, and takes on d7, and then takes on b7, but why? Why do it, yeah? Why not just keep the pressure? Right. Yeah, right. Yeah, right. Just keep the pressure. But he's defending. Opening up the dark squares. Por more tácticos. You have to get it. De more tácticos. Right, even if he takes, look at this. Talk about dark square domination. This is just, I mean, how much fun is this? Seriously. This is opposite colored bishops. The theme of what they're capable of in the attack at its best. And I just gave it up, which was kind of silly. Probably, I wanted to keep the opposite bishop, but I didn't see any kind of mate. So we gave it up. But winning, nonetheless, we should be. He's defending, though. You've got to give it to him, yeah? All right, let's push. Push. Come up. No mate. No shake and bake. Attack, I guess? I'm not sure that I'm playing well at all here. Plus, he's sort of riding off the increment and doing so. Wow, well, that was unnecessary. I guess in the end, the increment proved to be not enough to let him outplay me from a lost position. I can't lie. I mean, he totally outplayed me. Where did I really lose the thread on that game? I don't know. I mean, I guess giving up the dark square bishop was es no bueno. Certainly earlier I probably had some brilliant attacking chances, but what should I have done? I guess possibly I should bring the rook to b6 immediately and try to infiltrate and just keep the dark squares. But there's no way I'm not winning up the exchange. I guess I just fooled around. I mean, h4 is a stupid move. I should play king to f1 and then just dominate the open file. He can't pin me, of course, because my rook guards the square. So that would have been the simplest form of technique, is taking away the piece that my opponent has that's about to get active. I just need to trade it, and then my rook will dominate easily. So not so great by me, but hey, we'll take it. It is a bullet brawl after all. And on those days, we are forgiving. That's right. Say your prayers, Yom Kippur, and I don't know. Let's talk later. See you around on Chess.com.